Third down and 8. Cincinnati. Burrow retreating. And now he's going to be sacked. Down he goes. Down he goes. Chris Jones destroying the blocker on the near side. And the Chiefs will call timeout at 39 seconds left in regulation.
That was part of a monster season for Chris Jones in 2022. He's among the very best at his position in the NFL, but could the Chiefs add some more talent to their defensive front in the upcoming draft? For more on that topic, we're checking in today with Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network, one of the very best in the business. He's been studying this stuff for months, and it's almost go time here. DJ, how's it going, man?
I'm doing great. It's great to see you fired up to get out to Kansas City. Going to be here before you know it.
Yeah, I can't believe it's actually going to be in Kansas City. It's finally time for our draft. I feel like we've been talking about this for years now, but it's just here in just about a week. And like I mentioned, I'm going to ask you here about defensive tackle prospects going into this one. And before we talk about specific names, what's your overall evaluation of this year's defensive tackle class?
I think there's some interesting names. I think Jalen Carter probably stands alone in terms of just the you can't deny how impactful he is as a player, and he's probably pretty easy to project as a player at the next level. And then after that, I think there's some interesting names, but it's not, a super deep group of guys you feel like known quantities. I know exactly what I'm getting. There's some wild cards in there, but some interesting guys to say the least.
Well, that's kind of the name of the game if you're picking at 31, like the Chiefs are, and at the end of every round. You win the Super Bowl, you get the last pick in the draft, and it means that the players that you're taking maybe aren't perfect prospects, but there's some traits there that you like that you can mold. And defensive tackle maybe isn't at the top of the list for the Chiefs, but let's say they want to go defensive tackle in round 1 at pick number 31. Who are some names to know?
Well, Kalijah Kancey is probably going to be gone. Jalen Carter's going to be long gone by that point in time. But Kalijah Kancey out of Pitt, it's been an easy comparison for people just because Pitt, undersized defensive tackle. Aaron Donald, he's not Aaron Donald. He's not as long. He's not quite as powerful, but he is really twitched up. He is really athletic, and he can play on the other side of the line of scrimmage. So I think he's my 27th player. So, and talking to folks around the league, I think there's probably a good chance he's gone by then. But that would be probably best case scenario is somebody who's a little more, not quite, nobody's Chris Jones, but I mean, not that type of a guy, but real quick and a disruptor to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage. And then the other ones I would give you would be Brian Brzee from Clemson, who's, I'm not maybe as high on as some others. He's my 37th player. I don't think that's the craziest thing in the world, though, to take him at that point in time. He's got a lot of traits, got a lot of tools. Just hasn't been really healthy. He's been through a lot in his life over the last couple years. But that's one that would be in the mix there. And then the two other names I would give you would be Mazi Smith from Michigan. Probably goes in the second round. Big, powerful guy. Still trying to grow and evolve as a pass rusher. Maybe more of a space eater at this point in time. And then the other one would be Keanu Benton. If you're going to ask me for maybe a surprise first-round pick that nobody's really talking about, Keanu Benton from Wisconsin. He gives you a little more pass rush and is really, really strong at the point of attack as well. Had a good week down at the Senior Bowl. So that's one that I think everybody expects to go in the second round, but, it wouldn't shock me if he were to sneak into the back of one.
Yeah, once you get to pick like 25 and beyond, nobody really knows. I mean, are they first rounders? Are they early second rounders? It kind of all blends together. With all of these guys, it's amazing the kind of athlete that there is in the college ranks nowadays, where they're pushing 300 pounds but can run the 40-yard dash in like 4.5 seconds. It's just incredible. And you can find some of these guys later on as well. Chris Jones was a second round pick back several years ago in 2016. Beyond round 1, are there any names to know for Chiefs fans that could fit that are going to be available probably on day 2 or day 3?
Yeah, I mean, those names that I hit you're going to see a bunch of those guys probably end up going in the second round. Specifically, when you look at Brzee from Clemson, Mazi Smith, Keanu Benton. Siaka Ika from Baylor did not test well. He's not a real quick-footed guy. He's just kind of a big space eater, plugger, real strong. Kind of reminds me of a little bit of a poor man's Danny Shelton, if you remember him coming out of Washington a few years ago, went to the Patriots. I think he probably goes in the third round when it's all said and done. You've got Roy, the defensive tackle from LSU, who's kind of in that mix. You've got Dexter, the defensive tackle from Florida. And Dexter's interesting. He's almost 6'6", 310. Like, he's got a Chris Jones body. Hasn't put it all together yet. Still working, still developing, but flashes like an ultimate flash player. those guys usually go somewhere on day 2. So those would be a couple guys I'd keep an eye on there. And then for me, one that I'm higher on than some of the teams that I talked to would be Zach Pickens from South Carolina. Tested really well, ran a 4.89 at the combine. Real disruptive penetration style. He's not going to sit there and kind of hang on blocks and stack double teams, but if you want him to get on an edge and get up the field and be disruptive, that's what he does really well.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Defensive tackle, particularly these interior players, are not always the most exciting guys to talk about, but football is won in the trenches. We've seen that time and time again, and you can never have enough of these guys, particularly young athletic players who can push the pocket and create opportunities for guys like Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, and others. The Chiefs have 10 picks in this draft, and after months and months of waiting, I know you know this, it is finally almost here. DJ, awesome stuff, man. Really appreciate your time.
Now, I'm excited to see what my buddy Brett's going to do this year. He set the bar really high in last year's draft, so the pressure is on, Brett. You got to try and match what you did last year, which was incredible. But no, the Chiefs are in great hands, and this will be an exciting time not only for them, but for the city. I cannot wait to get out there, say hello to everybody, see all the fans, and get this thing underway.